Hello, everyone. I'm Doug Taylor, and I've been a clairvoyant, psychic, and a medium for most of my life, just about 6 decades now. I'm turning 70 this year. I've got 6 children, 9 grandchildren, and a deep respect for the intuitive gifts we all carry, even if we don't always know how to listen to them. This podcast isn't about putting on a show. It's about sharing what I know, what I've experienced, and what I've seen help people find clarity, connection, and sometimes even peace. I'm starting Perfectly Clair now because I believe there's still more to say. If you're curious about the intuitive space, or maybe you've had your own moments of knowing and want to understand them better, this space is for you. No fluff, no filters, just real talk about the unseen side of life. So today I want to talk about something that comes up a lot when people ask me how intuition actually works. These are what are often called the clear senses. These are the ways we receive intuitive information beyond our 5 physical senses. Some people may hear things, some people see, some feel, some just know. It's not all one size fits all, and it's not always dramatic. Most of the time it's subtle and quiet. The word clair just means clear, so clairvoyance is clear seeing, clairaudience is clear hearing, and so on. There are 8 main ones that I'll walk through today, and chances are you're already using 1 or 2 of them in your daily life, even if you've never thought about it that way. My goal isn't to convince anyone of anything. It's just to explain these senses in plain terms, share some of my own experiences, and maybe help you recognize the ways your own intuition might already be showing up. So why don't we just jump right into it? Clairvoyance, obviously clear seeing. It's one of the more well-known senses. It's the ability to see things in your mind's eye that others wouldn't see with their physical eyes. I've had this for most of my life, and for me it's like reading the newspaper. The news is there, and I'm just reading it out loud. You might see it like a movie in your head, or quick flashes, symbols, or scenes. However, clairvoyants tend to be very visual people, and sometimes folks are experiencing it and just haven't realized what it is. So the first time I realized that I could see things that others couldn't was probably at the age of 5. And most of the things I saw at that time were spirit or people who had passed. And although it unnerved me, it certainly didn't scare me. I first started seeing visions probably a couple of years after that. And visions again that came to me from different places, from different things that I saw. Most of them people had passed or events that I felt were coming as far as claircognizance would be. The next clear sense is clairsentience, which is clear feeling. This is the ability to feel things, especially shifts in energy through emotion. Maybe you've walked into a room and instantly felt tension, or you can tell when someone's hurting, even when they say they're fine. Some call it a gut feeling, but it goes deeper. This sense is especially strong in caregivers, nurses, counselors, PSWs, vets, and parents. And there's been more than a few times when I felt something just wasn't right, even when nothing was being said out loud. And one that stands out is even recently when I walked into a room and everything was supposed to be fine, but I felt that something was unusually wrong. And sure enough, there wasn't good news to follow. I find that my body tenses and I can feel the emotion as almost you could cut it with a knife in the air. Some people experience different feelings when they are clairsentients. Now let's talk about clairaudience, which is the ability to hear messages, words, sounds, even music that come through in a quiet inner voice. It often sounds like your own thoughts, but you know it's not you. If you're a singer, musician, public speaker, or teacher, you're probably already tuned into this sense. As far as my own personal feelings on clairaudience, I often remember things that I hear clear as day, and I almost didn't believe it at the time. But what happened next confirmed it. Certain sounds were echoed shortly thereafter. So the difference is, especially for me, clairaudience is I can feel and hear the words in my head as opposed to clairvoyant, seeing the images and knowing what they are. The next one is called clairgustance, or the physical sense of taste. It's not about food. It's about tasting something tied to a feeling or energy. Sadness might leave a bitter taste. Joy might taste sweet. These tastes show up out of nowhere, usually when something meaningful is about to happen. Clairvoyants who use this sense in seeing people who have passed may have a taste of perhaps blood in their mouth, where someone has passed instantly due to impact or accident. That's one of the clairgustances that come to mind. Clair scent, clear smelling. It's about picking up scents that aren't physically there. Smoke, perfume, flowers. It's often connected to spirit or memory. And sometimes it can alert you to something that's not being said out loud. Clair scent, for me, is important to be especially aware of because different scents are linked to spirit that's passed. And if you pay attention to it, you'll realize that they're prompting you, that they're there. And for me, being able to smell a certain odor, smoke, or perfume, or flowers, it's a prompt that spirit is present and that they're trying to make you aware so you can recognize and verify that they're there for you. For me, clear smelling, clear scent is spirit's way of letting you know that they are there. They're validating that they are there for you, and you need to acknowledge them, that they have shown up, and this is one of the ways that they are reaching out to you. Claircognizance is clear knowing. It's the ability to just know something without learning it or being told. Ideas, insights, and answers show up out of nowhere, fully formed. You can't always explain it, but you trust it. How many times, if you're a claircognizance, that you've actually finished a sentence for somebody because you know what the words were going to come out to be? What about the times that you've walked into a room, never been there before, but you realize that somehow you've been there before? It's just knowing. And this one clear sense appears to me an awful lot. Claircognizance, just not about clear knowing. It's about that you actually know the real answers that somebody else hasn't even given you. Clairtangency, or psychometry, is the ability to receive information through physical touch. You might feel something when touching a personal object or walking past someone. I felt energy come through when touching certain items during readings. It's not always easy to explain, but it's powerful. I use my hands a lot when I am doing any reading. I use my hands a lot when I am reading because I can actually feel the power, the energy, and spirit in most of these cases, and it helps me draw the conclusions of what I'm seeing. Last one is clear empathy. It's a clear emotional sensitivity, and it's a deep emotional sensitivity. People with this sense can feel the emotion and physical pain of others, sometimes even at a distance. Empaths tend to struggle in crowds and pick up on more than they mean to. It's a strong sense, and sometimes it's a heavy one. Most empaths try to be a little bit more isolated and avoid large spaces and crowds because they're overwhelmed by the certain emotional feeling set from the crowd itself. Empaths are more common than you would imagine. They pick up on emotions, and in some cases, they become more emotional at times because they pick up on the sensitivity of the people around them. You might be an empath yourself if you're picking up on emotions when you walk into a crowded room or around certain people at certain times. Now, I want to take a moment to talk about how I experience the Clair senses, because for each person, it can look and feel a little different. Some people connect strongly with one or two of these senses. Others might find they're picking up on all eight over time. For me, clairvoyance has always been the strongest. I'm a seer, and that's how a lot of my connection starts. I see things clearly in my mind's eye. It's what I rely on the most in my mediumship work and in energy work. I see spirit. I see scenes, messages, and sometimes even full experiences. But it doesn't stop there. I also have a strong clairaudience, claircognizance, clairsentience, and clairgustance. I'll often hear words or names, feel physical sensations in my body, or suddenly taste something that gives me a clue, like pipe smoke, metal, or sweetness, and that's spirit communicating too. These senses show up heavily during readings. They help me connect with whoever's trying to come through and give information that's specific, real, and validating. It's deeply emotional work. It takes trust and sensitivity. And yes, it can be overwhelming sometimes, but that doesn't mean it's something to be afraid of. If anything, it's something to get curious about. These senses are just part of how we're wired to connect. So if you're noticing something, feeling things, hearing something, seeing flashes, don't ignore it. Just like anything else, the more you pay attention to it, the clearer it gets. And before we wrap up today, I want to give you a glimpse of what's coming next. In the next episode, I'll be sitting down with someone very close to me, my daughter. She's developed her own intuitive practice through tarot, and we're going to talk about how that became a meaningful tool in her life. What's interesting is that even though we work in different ways, me through the Clair senses and palmistry, which we'll talk about later this season, her through the cards, we're often speaking the same language underneath it all. It's just a different path to the same kind of knowing. We'll talk about how she uses tarot, what she sees in it, and how intuition can take on many shapes, sometimes subtle and sometimes clear as day. I hope you'll join us for that conversation. Thanks for spending this time with me. If something in today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love for you to join me again. This podcast is about sharing what's real from lived experience, not performance. You can find future episodes wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to reach out, I'd be glad to hear from you. Until next time, stay open, stay curious, and trust what you feel.